Yeah, so welcome back, our dear viewers. We are discussing John Steinbeck's novel, The Pearl, such a brilliant work of art. And I'll throw the question now to Lena. Before we took the break, we mentioned about the pearl buyers. So can you paint a picture of the pearl buyers? Kino now has fished out the pearl. And of course, the pearl must get a monetary value. So of course, it goes to the market square to meet the buyers. So let's paint a picture of that, Lena.
So Kino, along with his family, including his brother and his wife, they go to the street along which all the pearl buyers are situated. And the pearl buyers are seen as very conniving people because when Kino and Wana go into one of the shops to sell the pearl, one of the buyers is seen flipping his coin, and at first it's very calm. The coin is going very gently on his hand, but once he sees the pearl, he loses his balance. The coin falls off his hand, and this shows just how important the pearl is, because he himself is startled by the pearl. But instead of being honest and telling Kino that this pearl is it's precious, he lies to Kino. He tells him that this pearl it's not valuable. After some time, it will lose its value, it will fade. So the most I can give you for this is 1,000 pesos. And Kino knows the value of his pearl. In his view, this pearl is the pearl of the world. It is worth so much more than 1,000 pesos. So he tells him, no, this pearl is worth 50,000 pesos. And then the man tells Kino that, no, I know what I'm saying. If you don't believe me, I'll get other pearl buyers from other shops. He calls a boy who was working with him in the shop and tells him to get other pearl buyers from other shops in the street. The other pearl buyers come, and the first one says that I don't want to look at this pearl. It won't help me in any way. The second pearl buyer tells him that it's not of much value, but I have a client who likes such things. At most, I can buy the pearl at 500 pesos and send it to this client of mine at 600 pesos. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so at the end of the day, Kino says that no, my pearl is so much, it is worth more than what you guys are offering. So I will take my pearl and I will go to the city, because I know there I will get what this pearl is worth.
Yeah, of course you mentioned something which is quite important, that as the pearl buyers connive, and looking even at our market trends today, can you relate now the pearl buyers to what we have in our market today? Look at even the stock exchange. Here's Mercy.
Yeah, in the market today, we find that people are selling stuff at higher prices than normal. Like you'll find that something is worth 50 shillings, but someone is willing to raise the price like more than like 100 shillings more just to get that money. Like it's basically bringing out the greed that's being portrayed in our market today as we speak.
And maybe how is that affecting the society? Because it's a demand and supply curve in our current society. How is that affecting the society? So like for Kino, when he took this pearl to the market, he didn't get market for it because he didn't get value for the pearl. And of course, goes back home and keeps the pearl for some time. So how does that affect our society?
Well, I think it affects our society in that when you find that, like let's take it to the remote areas or something like that.
Yes.
If you're from a remote area and you're poor and you go to a place to buy something that's worth more than you had imagined or planned for, you'll be pushed to even steal or commit certain crimes just to get that which you wanted, which it diminishes the good image that is still there in the society.
Okay, sawa. And of course, because Kino fails to find market for the pearl, of course, he get back home. But of course, this brings even more woes. So I'll want as David to take us through what happens next before they move to the mountain in terms of the second attack. So we mentioned the first attack. So when he fails to get market for the pearl, what does he do?
When Kino fails to get the market to sell the pearl, he comes back home and sits on his sleeping mat. Then his brother one Thomas comes and sits beside him, and doesn't say anything. Then Kino raises a question: what could I do then? Then one Thomas tells him that he really fears for his brother, and Kino just says that all that he fears is starving. He wants his son to go to school. That is the only chance that he can get. And so one Thomas also still tells him that he really fears for him. And so Kino tells him that on the he will leave very soon. Very soon he will be leaving, and so Kino one Thomas leaves and tells him that to go with God, and also Kino tells him back, but his face was still down, as in he wasn't looking up. He was maybe frowning.
Okay, maybe just before, let me talk to you a bit, Joan from Buruburu Girls, yeah? Yeah, when Thomas, Joan fears for the brother, that is Kino, did this come to pass? And what was the fear?
Yeah, it actually comes to pass later that night when Kino is attacked by an unknown person. There Kino fights. It is a matter of life and death, for he's trying to save the pearl. For in his mind, he wants his son to go to school, and that pearl is his only hope. So like that battle was a matter of life and death, and Kino ends up killing the man. And later Juana comes and dresses Kino's wound, but then that night Juana tries to throw the pearl, for she sees it as a bad omen, for it distorts their family.
Oh, that's
peace.
good. Derek, back to you. I just interrupted a bit. Now, from here now we move to the mountain. What happens?
To the mountain.
Yep.
Well, at the when Kino was leaving the journey to the mountain, first they reached to a cave where when they reach there, Kino notices the three trackers, and one of them was a horseman. And so when he noticed them, the trackers started scanning the place where he had swept the foot tracks. Then Kino realized that even if they left, they would still come back at that place to look for them. And so when the trackers had left, he went to his wife Juana and told him that they should be heading to the mountain now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll ask our brother from Kabarak. Yeah, because I want us now to move and look at a few themes and symbols before we wind up on the shore. The return, when they make their return journey. Yeah, because you know what happened at the mountain when they make their return journey. And of course, remember even initially the wife, that is Joanna, in the dread of the night, wanted to throw this pearl back to the ocean. But of course, you know, because it was a treasure, Kino was a bit adamant, and that did happen, yeah? So because of the killings and all that, and you know, at this point, even the son, Koyotito, is killed, yeah? So which is even more of a curse to this family, because this was the only son. So what happens on their return?
So when they were returning, it happened that it was quite sad, because Kino was the one who was carrying the pearl. Then he didn't even look when he was there, when the brother was calling. He was just heading straight. Then Juana was carrying the baby at the back, but the baby was dead. So when they reached the house, Kino went straight to the ocean and threw the pearl back to the ocean, because it happened that it quite destroyed their life. Yes.
Okay, at this point in time, I will ask Lena, was it justified for Kino to have made this move? Remember, this is a treasure, where like you've just won Lotto 1 million bob and brings you all these miseries, then you just take it to Indian Ocean. Was it justified? Was that the right move for Kino?
Yes, I think it was justified because look at all the harm the pearl has brought. Overall, the pearl has brought more harm than good. Kino has lost his only son, his only hope. Kino has killed people. The harm that the pearl has brought does not give Kino any reason to keep it, because had he kept the pearl, more harm would have happened to him. More people would want the pearl. More people would attempt to take the pearl from him, prompting Kino to kill those people and become a worse person.
Okay, maybe Joanne, the secret. Does it mean that the rich, if you look at now the rich and the poor, because that's what is brought out from the pearl, there are those who stay in concrete houses, there are those who stay in bush houses. Does it mean that the rich don't have peace, from what John Steinbeck paints in the novel?
I actually think the rich do have peace, because when we look at those who are living in those plaster houses, there's not much which is said about them, which brings me to conclude that.
Yeah, but of course I know, because even the doctor, they don't pay it much. He's even a minor character, but of course just brings the idea of greed.
Yeah.
But just reading beyond the lines. Yeah, because when Kino gets this, it's like it was a breakthrough. Yeah, that is come from grace to grace. But of course it brings him all the miseries. Yes?
I think Kino's journey towards getting income from the pearl was actually depressing in such a way that it turned Kino from being a loving husband into a mad beast, which he kills people, he kills the 3 trackers, and in the process his son Koyotito dies. So I think his journey to becoming a rich person was actually depressing more than a blessing. Yeah.
Okay, maybe from Alan's girls' high school, maybe how best should have Kino handled the pearl?
Well, in my opinion, if I was Kino, I would have, well, I wouldn't be, okay, I think I wouldn't be so I wouldn't expect so much from this part, like the way he was expecting
You're
so
like
much
he was
from
over-expectant,
his, yeah.
And some of us, it happens. You get 100 million, you want to get a Range Rover sports car, to put up a flat, all of us will be expectant.
Yeah, but all these expectations have led to nothing in the end, because he's ended up worse than he even was at the beginning, because of all of his expectations.
Yeah.
Like, he ended up losing his only son, and for sure he loved him like so much, because when the doctor came to treat Koyotito, he was like, when he was telling him about the drugs and everything, he was like, my son will know this, my son will know this. Like, when the priest came, he said the same, my son will know this. So he's been protecting this pearl mainly because he wanted a future for his son, mainly. But then at the end, the son dies. Like,
Okay, so maybe these are, as we close the discussion, I just want us to highlight just a major theme. And of course now the floor is open. Just a major theme that is brought out from the pearl.
We see greed being brought out rather well. Greed on the side of the father, the side of the doctor, even the beggars outside the church are greedy because they think of what Kino will give them after he sells the pearl. Because in normal occasions, after a person gets such a blessing, such a breakthrough, the first thing that you will do is give a part of your income to the church as a tithe. Yes. And we also see greed on the side of Kino and basically the whole community, because everyone is thinking about what can I benefit from this pearl that Kino has got.
So you see the society as a capitalistic one. Maybe any other major theme brought out in the novel? Yes, Joanne?
I think there's a theme of unity, because even after their son Koyotito dies, Juana still sticks with her husband, And even when Kino brutalizes her in the attempt of trying to throw the pearl away, Juana still follows him no matter what. So there's that theme of unity in that family. Yes.
Okay, maybe the last theme. Do we see any element of the theme of love?
Yeah.
You had to talk about, yes, Derek?
You can see the theme of love. In the theme of love, when Wana went to throw the pearl into the water, Kino caught up with her and bruised her face with a fist. And after that, Wana still came back and gave the pearl back to Kino and helped her up. So it shows how Wana is determined to be with his husband Kino. And also during the scorpion bite, you can also see that Wana becomes caring and takes the baby and sucks out the poison and spit it out twice.
Okay, so Mercy, looking at the characters, though we may not handle the character traits and characterization, but which character will you want to just love? You'll be talking about the theme of love. Just a character you just want to pick, and this should be me. Kino, Thomas, Joan.
None.
None?
None.
There's no character you admire?
Okay, I admire Wana. Because in this whole context, like we see that she's the only one who's reasoning here. Like, she's the only one who saw a foreshadow of how evil the pearl was. Like, all that had happened, but still Kino was protecting the pearl. One had already seen how evil the pearl was, in that she went to an extent of trying to throw it. But Kino was so blinded by his greed, by his...
Was it greed or just that improvised state? You know, remember here you have a son who is unwell. The doctor who stays in a plaster house says, I cannot treat him because you don't have money. Remember that the pearl that he brings, they're not as treasured about this, the pearl. So is it really greed or just because of his desperate state?
I think it's because of many things, and greed is one of them.
That stand out for you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
And because of this, I think that I would like to be Wana, because she was very reasonable and she was able to see the evil brought out by the pearl, which Kino was not seeing because he was just trying to protect the pearl.
Okay. So, Joan, most of you will want to be medics when you grow up. Now, there's a doctor, although a minor character. Will you want to be such a doctor?
No, that will not be the doctor I would want to be. Okay. The doctor in this text is portrayed as a proud doctor. He only sees himself treating the rich only. He doesn't mind about the poor in the society. So that is not a person I would like to be if I was a doctor.
All right, as we wind up, I'll start with my from the far end, from Moi High School, Kabarak. If you are John Steinberg and you had to rewrite the pearl, how would you go about it?
First of all, I'll try as much as possible to make sure that Kino got to the capital so as he could sell the pearl, because Kino he was determined to educate his son and to make sure that Koyotito had a good life. So, yes.
Okay, from Loreto Girls, what will be your parting shot on the novel, The Pearl?
Personally, I think it's a very good book. It's very educative because it teaches about loyalty on one side, because after all she went through, she still stands by Kino. In today's society, in all honesty, if your husband hits you, would you really
You
stay?
want to slam the door.
You would just walk away.
Mercy,
but
will you stay?
No, you'd walk away, but
Derry,
one stay.
okay, Derry from Kabianga, as you come to a cross.
As for me, when I was to rewrite the PAL, I would just make sure that I emphasize on this proverb that says that hard work pays. You see, Kino really had worked hard so that he could get the PAL. So I could just emphasize on Kino becoming successful.
Okay, so you do not want him to take the PAL that is worked hard back to the waters. Yes, Joan from Buruburu Girls.
If I were to rewrite the story, I would not have let Koyotito died. He was such a young person, and yet he just died like that.
But even angels die. So Mazi, we've said something, eh? Yes?
Well, I would give Kino a happy ending because, yeah, he worked really hard, honestly. He tried his best to protect the PAL and give Koyotito his good life and everything, but in the end, he ended up miserable.
But you do stay.
No?
Like Joanna stayed.
Yeah.
You are slammed. You do stay?
No.
You will slam the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has been a blessing, our viewers. We've had a Power Charge a panel of students across the Republic, and we are so grateful to KTN and the Starter Group for hosting us. Bye-bye for now. Till next time.
Thank you so much to the parents and the teachers of the schools represented this whole month on Books and Blogs on Life and Style. We hope that you gleaned a couple of insights onto how to navigate through the set books that we featured this year at least. Thank you for your participation, for your engagement, for sharing with us your knowledge, your intelligence, your brilliance. My goodness, we have some incredible young talent in this country. Thank you for our viewers as well who, mejikumbusha how you used to do set books back in the day. And for those young ones who are looking forward to getting to high school and, starting to unpack these set books, we hope you gleaned as well. Check our KTN YouTube channel for all of these episodes, which you can always look at or watch in your own time. February is the month of love, so what does Books and Blogs hold for you? Stay tuned to find out. For now, have a blessed Monday.